to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Mary Goulet Show, cultivating a rich interior. Now, here's Mary.
Welcome back to the program. Okay, this is our real estate segment, third one in a group of four with Scott Carson and Stephanie Goodman from WeCloseNotes.com. You have not listened to the first two. You want to go back so you understand the context within which you're talking. And now we're getting to some juicy stuff.
Juicy.
Because we're in San Diego right now, and San Diego, California, remote areas might be a good option. But someone like me who wants to have another investment vehicle, how would that work with this program?
So that's a really good question. We get it quite a bit. If you're in Austin, is very similar to San Diego. I haven't bought anything in Austin in over a decade. I'm going where I find deals, where I can find a good return on investment, ROI, but also an ROT, a return on time.
Yeah.
It's important to us all, right? Because a lot of fix and flippers, they get in and they spend a lot of time, a lot of money. At the end of the day, when they figure out their hourly wage, they're working for less than minimum wage a lot of time.
And they're exhausted.
Exactly. It gets burnt out real fast. So our big thing is to get cash flow going. And we've helped a lot of people. We've got a lot of great students who've sat down with our plan of action, said, okay, let's figure out what you need to be making. What do you need to do if you want to leave your job or you want to bring in $5,000 a month in cash flow? Well, if you're buying, you want $5,000 a month in cash flow coming in, let's figure that out. If you're buying assets that are worth $50,000 in, say, St. Louis or Kansas City or Columbus, Ohio is a really hot market.
So wait, what are the price points?
It's a lot cheaper than it is here. Like I said, you buy one note here in San Diego, you buy a whole block in other parts of the country.
That's something else.
So that's the thing. If it's worth $50,000 and they probably owe $60,000, $70,000, you're probably picking it up for $20,000 to $25,000. The debt. And if you get the person to start paying on time at their $700 a month, that's a good cash flow. Yes, seriously. We've helped rocket scientists leave their job. We've helped, he's making six figures, $150,000, $200,000 a year, leave his job because he worked a plan. He bought assets, and over a 12 to 18-month period of time, he replaced his income with cash flowing notes because he bought them non-performing, bought them cheap. He used other people's money, like their retirement accounts, their 401ks, their savings, and it was giving his investors a good return on investment, and he was keeping the difference and able to leave his job.
Okay, so let's say I buy 4 or 5 of those.
Yep.
I don't see any money for 12 months to 18 months.
No, that's not always the case because if you get it reperforming, they start paying in 60 to 90 days. So now you start having cash flow come in.
Okay. That makes sense. I'm sorry, I had to go over in my brain.
That's okay. I saw the numbers being calculated here above your head. But that's the whole goal. If you buy performing or buying occupied assets, you work with a homeowner and very aggressive with our vendors. We don't do it all ourselves. Our vendors do really 90% of it. Get the homeowner to have some sort of resolution. Hey, are you going to start paying? You no pay, you no stay. All right? No soup for you. Okay? If they don't pay, then we start the foreclosure process. And then if you foreclose, you're going to see some bigger checks because you take the property back, you sell it off. A lot of times the foreclosure auction, those are big lump checks. But the performing note side, hey, it's $500, $1,000 a month, depends on the payment coming in. You just start figuring out how many deals do you need to close or have performing to help replace your monthly income.
Yeah. It's a numbers game. Pretty much everything comes down to being a numbers game.
Amen to that. And, this is not, people are over analytical, this is not really a great aspect for them because there's so many different options that can happen with a borrower.
That's what I'm saying. The variables are insane.
There's a lot of variables. Exactly. So you got to know, kind of got to go with the flow. If you try to always foreclose, that was one of the biggest mistakes I made in the business when I got in my first 2 years. I'm just going to foreclose on everything. I want to foreclose. Well, I left a lot of money on the table. I could have helped a lot of people initially. And I had cash flow coming in versus waiting 6 to 12 months when I foreclosed and then I had to rehab, then list it on the market to sell it.
Okay. So what is a minimum amount of money to make it start to scale? If it's, I love your price point of 50, 60, 70,000. Where the hell is that?
You're not here. But
I know.
You think about that. Just because, when we think about a $50,000 property here is like a doghouse, right? A garage door. in some places.
It's not even a garage.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lean-to.
It's a tiny house.
It's a doghouse. Exactly, 10 square feet. But those are great properties in different areas of the country. Indianapolis, a great market. You can evict in 14 days as well in Indianapolis.
Oh,
it's very nice. Plus, it's also pretty fast to foreclose there. Columbus, Ohio, while it might be a lot colder there, it's a very booming economy with the Ohio State University and a lot of the growth going on there. Detroit, oh my gosh. Detroit, I once bought a house for $1,500 and then sold it for scrap metal the next day for $3,000. This was years ago, but we can buy properties, 20, 30 grand there that it would pay $800 a month in rent. That's ridiculous on that. You're buying it for $5,000, $10,000, and you get a payment of $500 a month coming into it.
Okay, because I met at the New Media Summit where you and I met, the three of us met. One of the last presenters, she's the real estate gal. Mm-hmm. She goes to Atlanta, and I think she's doing buy and hold.
Yeah.
Did you have a conversation with her?
She is. She's doing buy and hold. Yes.
And then we had a guest on Reinvention Radio, and she was the one that said, yes, I have real estate, different pockets of investments, and one of them is Detroit. Mm-hmm. I'll go and buy a house for $2,000 here, $2,000 there. What is the best strategy for that? If they're vacant homes, you just buy it and fix it up and rent it out for $500 a month?
You could do that. We see a lot of that. We've driven around and been there. But there's a lot of these banks that we get these lists from. I had one bank send me a list of 500 plus, and half of them were in Michigan. Detroit, Flint, Bay City, Ann Arbor, Lansing.
That doesn't make sense.
It totally does. It doesn't because you're used to the real estate side of things.
Yes.
But the banks have these portfolios that they never sit. There's no MLS for a note list. So it's dealing with specific departments inside of the bank called the special assets and the secondary marketing department. These are the two departments inside the banks that have these lists available. And you're not going to walk down to the local bank and say, hey, I want to buy your notes. You've got to get to somebody inside of these departments, either on Wall Street.
Do they just not trust what you would do with them? Or
No.
They don't trust you won't perform? I don't understand why it's so secretive.
Well, because it's just not – most people don't have the patience to call 50 banks to get a bank to say, yes, I have something. Or, the last thing the banks want is a bad PR thing where you buy a note and don't know what the heck you're doing with it.
Exactly.
And so that's why you've got to speak their language. There's a whole lingo that goes along with talking to these asset managers to get on their lists. And they send them out once a month or once a quarter. And then you pick what you want to buy. As long as your money ends up in their account and what you negotiate, hey, you're now the bank.
See ya.
Yeah, exactly. Not our problem anymore. You get to deal with Joe and Mary Smith. But the fact that we buy it at a discount or buy it very cheap gives us a lot of flexibility to really create a win-win solution. It's not always get them reperforming. It's not always take the property back. You've got to be a little flexible. But it's all numbers-based. What's the best ROI on our time?
So you can't – how much information can you get from the bank before you choose which ones you're going to buy?
It's scary.
Yeah.
Name, social security number, last 12, 24 months of payment stream. And then, of course, we do a lot of social sleuthing.
I was just going to say, you got to find out, did they just get back from Europe?
Well, we've had some interesting stories. Like we were getting ready to buy a note on a property in Orlando, and then we jumped online, and the homeowner said, well, I haven't made my mortgage payment in 6 months. Do I go to Disneyland or do I make the mortgage payment? We're like, well, we know what you're going to do. We had another guy that was going through a bit of a transition.
Uh-oh.
He was using what he would be paying for his mortgage to pay for his implants.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Not quite Kyle Jenner, but anyway.
So people seriously do that?
Oh, yeah. They put all sorts of stuff online. We can find out where they work at. If I see somebody's a part-time manager at Dollar General in Indiana, I can Google what their salary would be and find out what they can roughly afford on a monthly basis. I can find out. I do a name search on LinkedIn to see if they're working. They've got a profile. One interesting thing I bought a note in Columbus, and I found out by Googling the borrower that she ran a house cleaning business in Columbus, Ohio. And so I had other properties in Columbus, Ohio, so I called her up to hire her to go clean my other houses, which she did. She was great, did a great job. I paid her for her time, and then I called her up again. She's like, oh, Scott, so good to hear. You have another house for me to go clean? I'm like, yeah, we have to have a little bit of conversation. do you know what I do? And I told her what I did. And I said, and there's some good news. I actually just bought your mortgage. I'm now your bank. And she's like, huh? What? I said, I know you haven't paid in 12 months. I know you're a hard worker, though, based on what you've done for me. So let's figure this out really fast.
What happened?
Oh, she's been on time. If she's even more than a day late, she calls the servicing company. I'm sorry. She's great. And every property we buy in Columbus, she's the person I call to go clean out.
That's hilarious. Well, you're Mr. Do-Gooder.
We try to, but then we still have our fair share of people that cuss us up a storm. And
they're just afraid. They're backed up against the wall. They don't realize that there's an option for them. They're doing fight or flight, or they're just being a dick?
In some cases, they do. I get it, and I'm glad to talk with them about that. But there's people that have forged documents with the city, and we've tried to do something. You send them out a payment plan, and then you don't get it, but we send it certified, so we know that they got it. Or they'll go online and make a payment, electronic payment, but they use a fraudulent account. There's people try to play games.
It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. We know we're going to have at least 10 to 20% of our borrowers are going to try to play some sort of game. If that's the case, that's okay. We'll deal with the other 70 to 80. But
your research, your social research before, you can kind of go,
right.
These guys let's give an honest person an honest chance to prove.
That's correct. Because the bank, the selling bank will give us the whole loan file. So we can see what their loan application was, what they were making, where they were working at. We get all the call notes from the previous servicing company finding out what's going on. So we get a lot of great information that really allows us to really be Sherlock Holmes.
That's cool. All right, one more segment. Let's do it. We'll be right back on The Mary Goulet Show. Stay with us.
Thank you. By listening, you help prove that content marketing works. You need to engage your customers. We provide the solution. Contact Wade at WSRadio.com or call 866-WS-RADIO.
If you heard that sound, you probably are eligible for insurance from Navy Mutual, insuring the men and women of the Navy, Marines, and Coast Guard. Here's what one policyholder, retired Navy Commander Thomas Dade, had to say.
Navy Mutual is the best insurance decision I ever made. I wish you had a savings plan available that earned the rates my Navy Mutual insurance has been earning.
Navy Mutual Aid Association, started by military members in 1879, serves active, reserve, and retired military today. Navy Mutual honors our military by providing them affordable life insurance with the features they need without fine print, sales fees, or military service restrictions. Value, integrity, trust, and stability are the cornerstones on which our commitment to you and your loved ones are built. Call Navy Mutual at 1-800-628-6011 or NavyMutual.org for your personal life insurance plan consultation. 1-800-628-6011 or NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at which.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, which.com.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, VinVillage.com, where wine lovers connect. Be sure to tune in weekly to Vin Village Radio for exclusive, in-depth interviews with the who's who in wine and food.
I can't speak more highly about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me get my health back, get my energy back. And Dr. Agoli, when I first came to you guys, you found a thyroid problem, and I had no clue. But that's really common with a lot of your patients, right?
Underactive thyroid is the most misdiagnosed condition in the United States. According to the American Academy of Endocrinology, well over 25% of the population is not being diagnosed properly. It's because of the testing parameters. If you go to your traditional doctor, they could be missing a key component. If you have crushing fatigue, inappropriate weight gain, cold hands, cold feet, losing hair, lack of concentration, even headaches and migraines could be caused by underactive thyroid. At Progressive Medical, we get to the root cause of the problem because we are integrative, and integrative medicine is good medicine. We use a combination of medication, natural supplements, diet, nutrition, lifestyle modification, and that's what makes it so unique because we tailor it to your personal needs, and that's interesting because you are tailored.
Yes, and if you want to get your energy back, be the most vibrant version of yourself, you got to get to Progressive Medical Center. I'm so glad I went. Contact them today through progressivemedicalcenter.com.